Chris Scalzo here with
Matt Howell.
And as this episode of the First Run, Matt and I are going to discuss Vice. Not the long-awaited sequel to Michael Mann's Miami Vice film. No. This is Adam McKay's film about... Yeah, I'm not liking this. See, YouTubers, you get this behind-the-scenes stuff where you get to watch the show when it's a absolute disaster while we're still putting it together.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was while I was doing that, Matt, I closed all my internet windows by accident.
Well, that's not good.
So it threw me off entirely. So that's why I got all flustered.
Can't roll with it.
No, I'm no Bill O'Reilly.
No.
Do it now.
Do it live.
Let's try that again, shall we, folks?
Okay.
Chris Scalzo here with
Matt Howell.
And on this episode of The First Run, Matt and I are going to discuss Adam McKay's Vice, his biting, dark comic satire, it's Dick Cheney. Adam McKay tackles Dick Cheney. We're also going to discuss Bumblebee, the latest Transformers movie that has nothing to do with Michael Bay. We'll see if that was a wise decision. It was. And then we're going to talk about what we think, Matt. It's a new segment. It's called The List, where we decide what Christian Bale's 5 best performances are, and we're going to kind of hash that out amongst each other and come up with an ultimate 5 film. So it's not Matt has his 5, I have my 5, and then we're done. Oh, no. We're just a fight to the death to figure out what Bale's 5 best films are. So that should be reasonably entertaining. Here's a clip from Vice.
I want you to be my VP. You're the solution to my problem.
I'm CEO of a large company. I have been Secretary of Defense. I have been Chief of Staff. The Vice Presidency is mostly a symbolic job.
Right. I can see how that wouldn't be enticing to you.
However, the Vice Presidency is also defined by the President. If we were to come to a different understanding.
Go on. I'm listening.
Indeed, he was. So that is, of course, Christian Bale as Mr. Richard Cheney, and then Sam Rockwell as George W. Bush. And this is McKay's film about basically Dick Cheney's life, right? At least his political career, how he started off, who he was, his air quotes growth as a person, and how he basically ended up becoming one of the, and at that point, probably the most powerful man in the world.
Mm.
Now, if you're not familiar with Adam McKay, he was more traditionally known for films like, Anchorman, The Other Guys.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he's done, I think, some pretty good comedies. He's also had some swings and misses. So after finding big success with The Big Short, where he takes a comedic look on a dramatic subject, he's now tackling Dick Cheney. Matt, I cannot recall the last time I was this frustrated with a film.
Why is that, Chris?
Do you share my beliefs at all? I'm just curious. I'm just going to lay that out there, and then I want you to. What do you? I'm as Dick does. I'm throwing out the lure.
Yeah, you're going to see if I take the bait.
Yeah. So, okay. What are your thoughts on Vice?
So here's the thing. As longtime listeners of the First Run Nation know, I'm not a huge fan of biopics in general. I think they're, for the most part, generally pointless because kind of like the Cliff Notes version of someone's life is really not that interesting to me. Now, I can say, having lived through the Darth Vader presidency, I don't... there wasn't anything here that was like so earth-shattering to me that, I felt like I came away learning more about Dick Cheney than I did before. I guess I knew very little about the man. But I don't know. Like, I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe something more focused, more satirical, but you know, it was kind of like a standard biopic where the director hated the subject.
Yeah, I mean that clearly does come across, right?
Yeah.
I want to start off by saying that Bale is great in this.
Yeah.
He absolutely disappears, and I was just blown away by his performance. Him and of course Amy Adams as his wife, Wynn Cheney, even Carell as Rumsfeld, and of course Mr. Rockwell himself.
And I hope I wasn't the only one knowing Adam McKay's connections. I was really in another universe. Will Ferrell is playing that role like he should be.
I think that would have been too comedic.
Probably.
If Ferrell was Bush, I think it would have been too far. But I think that's maybe part of my issue because this film is a bit of a mess, right? It's really hit and miss. I think sometimes, Matt, it's downright brilliant. And other times I wanted to throw my Twizzlers at the screen. I mean, I reveled in how darkly funny it was. And when it does hit, it hits with a haymaker. But sometimes he hits you over the head too hard with his mallet, trying to make his point, right? And it's I don't know. There's just little thing. All right, so I was just very frustrated with this thing because part of me wanted to love it. But parts there are a few times I'm like, no, it's too scattershot. He tries to do too much. He bounces back and forth through space and through time and probably space as I blow my own joke. And the problem is there's no grand story here. There's no morality tale. There's really nothing for you to sit back and reflect on. There's nothing to really just bite into. You're just watching McKay's kind of almost random wanderings back and forth through Cheney's life, showing you just how black a person this guy really is. And as I said, there are times when it's really, really good. And there are times when I hated it. I like at the end. I don't know how long you stayed, but there's a mid-credits scene where we revisit the focus group.
Okay.
See that?
No, I did not see that. I got up and walked out.
All right. And what happens is it's the focus group, and they're going back and forth on talking about stuff. And then basically the conservative and the liberal end up fighting each other. And there's two people that look at each other and goes, I can't wait for the next Fast and Furious movie. And I get what he's saying there. And that's part of the problem is the majority of the American public is not engaged politically, which is a huge problem. But the way he just rolls it out, it's so frustrating. There's just no substance in this thing. We just ping pong back and forth. And there's never really a big enough hook for me. The stuff that I liked, I loved. But some of the jokes are great. And the portrayals of the other characters, I don't know, Matt. Am I wrong?
Well, no, you're not wrong. But I guess my challenge to you would be what did you expect? I mean, the thing is, it's still a bio.
The Big Short is really good.
Right, but The Big Short has an actual event that it follows from beginning point A to point B to point C. This is really just a biopic where there's not a huge big hook event. Dick Cheney came, he was the most powerful man in the world for 8 years, and then he disappeared. And I don't know. There's not a whole lot of narrative structure you can build off of that. I think you're kind of wanting, and I think I did too, but I knew I wasn't going to get it. You're wanting kind of I wonder if this thing would have even just worked a little bit better if he had taken the Inglourious Bastards route, where at some point he just kind of diverges from own history to tell the story he wants to tell. Because I don't know. I don't think you're going to get that in this type of biopic. It doesn't even have, it's not even a Dewey Cox level biopic because we don't even get the kind of, rise and fall kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He just kind of rose and then wandered off into the sunset, patting himself on the back.
And listen, if there's, I don't know where you're on the political spectrum, but if you end up being a bit on the left, the fact that this guy had 6 or 7 heart attacks and then and he's on his deathbed and gets a replacement heart. If that doesn't disprove the existence of God, I don't know what does. But
people make deals. People make deals with infernal deals all the time, Chris.
That's a fair point. And of course, we have National Treasure Jesse Plemons who is our narrator as well. How'd you feel about the character arc of? Did you figure out what was going on with that, or?
No, I didn't. What was enlighten me?
Well, Plemons' narrator, who he was. He doesn't tell you who he is until to the end of the film, when you find out the role that he plays in Dick Cheney's life.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about the way that McKay kind of handled that as his?
I mean, it was fine, I guess. I mean, we are big fans of Jesse Plemons, but I don't know. It wasn't particularly groundbreaking to me.
Yeah. How do you? I mean, he really threw. I think he shows everybody in the nastiest light possible. And the only like let me give you an example. Like when Cheney talks to Bush about how he won't be a part of the anti-gay marriage push that Bush ran on. How that's like that line isn't concrete or something to that effect. And of course, he backs away from it later on because McKay sets it up. I was like, well, sorry, maybe he has an ounce of integrity, but no, he doesn't.
Right.
The whole scene is almost exists to illustrate to you how bad a person he is.
Right. Well, it's to basically. I mean, this whole movie is basically left leaning, and I'm not saying that as like some kind of right wing nut, despite my haircut. I mean, it's McKay obviously is a very dyed-in-the-wool liberal, and he believes what he's saying, and he's taking every opportunity to kind of like say, I don't know, to skewer and make fun of his people who he doesn't deserve any respect. Whether those things are true or not, I mean, I'm sure that they are. It's just, I mean, he just kind of like twisting the knife, and there's just a lot of that in the film.
I wonder if the film would have been better if it was a straight biographical film.
No color at all, just like
maybe more
as possible, and you can draw your own conclusions.
Like a Fincher or somebody ended up handling.
Yeah.
Well, but we had Oliver Stone. Not that he's not some raving lunatic.
He is a raving lunatic.
His W film. So.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. Something super chilly like David Fincher, completely sterile and removed. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you really wanted to like this film a lot more than you
did,
and you're very disappointed about it.
I think so. I think that's part of it. Yeah.
Your political leanings were really looking forward to having a steak, and all you got was like an appetizer of chicken wings. Not even a good amount of them. Just
I didn't want just a hit piece either.
Yeah,
I didn't want a consistent barrage of Dick Cheney is the Antichrist type of thing. I didn't want that. But is he the Prince of Darkness? Maybe, but I don't know. I didn't want some cheap hit piece. I wanted a more thoughtful presentation of the issues. And McKay tries to do that, but he just undercuts himself, but with his erratic narrative. Yeah. So I think that's the best I can say. I don't. Do you have anything else to add?
Not really. Although I think maybe Darth Vader is probably too generous. He was more like Emperor Palpatine. Is really, Weasley.
Because he's the one working all the stuff behind the scenes.
Exactly.
So. Give me a grade, Matt.
C+.
I got a B-, basically just based on the strength of Christian Bale's performance.
Yeah.
What elevated it from a C+ for me. So, you're wrong about that.
What else is new?
You can just get used to it, which I appreciate. Thank you very much. If you had a chance to see Vice, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Big Golden Globe contender, Matt. I think it had like 6
most
nominations.
Most nominated, and hopefully that means it won't be nominated at all barely for the Oscars.
I'm going to check the live feed right now. We are recording this during the Golden Globes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if it's had any wins as of yet. Let's take a look right now. Let's vent.
Wonder if our we're going to win for best listicle segment in a podcast.
We could very well.
You could win that,
We could very well. All right. No. So no, nothing that I can see yet.
I think they're probably still on most of the TV categories at this point. It's still pretty early in the night.
Yeah, you're right. It's all TV stuff so far.
Except for I did see Into the Spider-Verse one. So good for them.
Good.
Yeah.
There it is. Best animated film, Into the Spider-Verse. Nicely done. All right, then. Let's move on. Let's go ahead and talk about what's coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday. Take a listen.
Can a man say a woman is attractive without it being a come on? All right. Let's just say, just for the sake of argument, that it was a come on. What do you want me to do about it? I take it back, okay? I take it back.
You can't take it back
Why not?
because it's already out there.
Oh, geez, what are we supposed to do? Call the cops. It's already out there.
Just let it lie. Okay?
Great. Let it lie. That's my policy. That's what I always say. Let it lie. Want to spend the night in a motel? See what I did? I didn't let it lie.
Harry.
I said I would, and then I didn't.
Harry.
I went the other way.
Harry.
What?
We are just going to be friends, okay?
Great, friends. It's the best thing.
Hashtag me too. When Harry Met Sally 30th anniversary edition comes out from Shout Select this upcoming Tuesday. That's January 8th. That's the kind of thing when you revisit some of these movies now. There's stuff that like borders on harassment type of a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like full on assault in like the 40s, kind of 50s kind of movies, and then it gets gradually. So we'll see.
I don't know if I've ever actually seen When Harry Met Sally. I don't think I have.
I've only ever seen pieces of it. I've never watched the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, now's your chance. It includes new scenes from a friendship, interview with Rob Reiner and Billy Crystal, and some old puttered over audio commentaries as well, documentaries, some deleted scenes, fun stuff like that. Mid-90s, Jonah Hill's directorial debut is being released as well. Couldn't find any information on any special features, but you can now catch up with it. A film that I saw earlier this year, I should say late last year, around Halloween, and it is horrible. Hellfest. This is the they go to the amusement park that's having the big Halloween night.
Yep.
And there's a masked killer hunting them all. It is really bad.
Wow.
Like, made me angry bad.
Wow, who would have guessed something with such a solid premise would be not good.
Yeah, and it has this little twist at the end, which is supposed to be like, oh my god! But it's just, I was going to try to do something different with it for the show, but I just said, this film doesn't even deserve anything special.
Doesn't even deserve our time. We don't.
No.
We've given it too much time already. Keep going.
Monsters and Men. The aftermath of a police killing of a black man told through the eyes of the bystanders who filmed the act. An African-American police officer and a high school baseball phenom inspired to take a stand is being released. An interview, wow, get it together, man. An
Seriously.
Evening with Beverly Luff. This is the Craig Robinson, Aubrey Plaza, Jermaine Clement film. Lulu Danger's unsatisfying marriage takes a turn for the worst when a mysterious man from her past comes to town to perform an event called An Evening with Beverly Luff Lynn for one magical night only. So you can check that out. I saw the trailer. It looked interesting, but the reviews were not good. Asher, starring TFR favorite Ron Perlman. He plays an aging hitman. He's on his last job, and when it goes sideways, he's forced to redeem himself. Also includes Famke Janssen, Jacqueline Bisset, and Richard Dreyfuss. A couple streaming series, or actually, I think one's a legit TV show. Is it on Fox? I'm not sure, Matt. You can tell me. The Purge TV show. Is it a sci-fi show?
I think it's on USA. I've never seen it. Yeah, but
The Purge, the first season is being released, as well as Castle Rock, which I believe is on Hulu.
It is
being released as well. New to Blu-ray. Have you watched Castle Rock at all? Is that any good?
I haven't. I have not been watching TV between
Right.
literally everything else I got going. Something's got to give, and it's TV. Is what it's been.
I don't think I finished the last season of Walking Dead.
Nope.
I did not see this last season of Game of Thrones before this new one's coming out this year.
No, well, I got to make priorities. That's a priority right there.
Yeah, wow. Anyway, new to Blu-ray, Criterion has given us 24 frames. For what proved to be his final film, Iranian director Abbas Kiarostami gave himself a challenge to create a dialogue between his work as a filmmaker and his work as a photographer, bridging the two art forms to which he had dedicated his life. It includes a new 2K digital master, as well as a new interview with director Abbas Kiarostami's son, Ahmed, who helped finish the film after his father's death, as well as some conversations with an Iranian film scholar and film critic, and a new short documentary about the making of the film. A couple of things getting their catalog releases, Matt. 8mm, the Nicolas Cage film. I remember when that came out, that was supposed to be like some big kind of violent, shocking thing.
It was so
and I was,
bad.
yeah, I was very underwhelmed by that thing. Also, I think friend of the show, Ted, my buddy Ted, Judgment Night, the Emilio Estevez movie.
Wow.
He's a big fan of that one.
He is a big fan. I don't think I've ever seen it. I just remember seeing the previews when I was a teenager, and I was like, man, that looks terrible. I've stayed away it ever since.
And then Stay Tuned. A husband and wife are sucked into a hellish TV and have to survive a gauntlet of twisted versions of TV shows that they now find themselves in, starring John Ritter. You remember that trailer?
No.
No? All right. Maybe a little too young for you. I just have been reveling in... I watched Bad Santa over the holidays, and Ritter is great in that. I don't know if you remember. So
I don't. I haven't seen Bad Santa in forever. I'll have to revisit it.
Still holds up. You know what doesn't hold up at all?
What?
Bad Santa 2.
No.
I watched that too, as in TOO, as an addition to. And let me tell you, not good.
Not good, huh?
The first 10 minutes are strong, and it's very, close to the original and really just honors it. But then after that, it is just a disaster. It's a mess. It's all downhill from there.
You know what, folks? I hope you guys appreciate what we do. We go and watch terrible films just to tell you that they're terrible and to keep you away from them.
Yeah.
And we're wasting our lives 2 hours at a time just to tell you what not to watch.
My wife writes down another note in her journal, which I'm sure is being mailed to our divorce attorney every week.
Does she? Chris,
guess what happened this week?
Yeah. We were going to go visit my mother, but Chris had to go to the movies for 3 hours, for 3 back-to-back movies.
Your straight to DVD pick of the week is The Super, starring Val Kilmer. A man becomes a superintendent of a large New York City apartment where, it's a whole building, not just an apartment, where people mysteriously go missing. It's up to Val Kilmer's superintendent to solve all the riddles and figure out the clues to stop before he becomes the next victim. He is The Super.
Wow.
Which will we be streaming this week?
All right, so I can't remember if I said we should watch this, or you should watch this as my streaming pick of the week relatively recently. But I'm going to throw it out there again just in case, but I got to back up. Annihilation, which is, I think, one of the best sci-fi films of the year, is available on Amazon Prime right now. And if you're scared of bears, this is not going to do anything for you. It's a good, solid sci-fi film. And then just in case I did mention that, a classic bit of weirdness, Brazil, Terry Gilliam's dystopian mind F that I barely can understand what the hell's going on in that film. Yeah. Something worth checking out, though, if you've never seen it.
Both classics, I really think. Well, I don't know if I should say Annihilation's a classic, but it is damn good.
It's damn good.
I'm fairly confident I'll end up in my top 10 for the year, but we'll have to find out. You'll hear soon.
Fingers crossed. Let's see what happens.
All right, let's move on then, Matt. Let's go ahead and spend a couple minutes talking about my good old pal, Bumblebee.
People of Earth, we are Decepticon peacekeepers patrolling the galaxy.
What are you doing? This is humiliating.
We believe a dangerous criminal from our world is hiding somewhere on yours. There's a war raging on our planet. If B-127 isn't found, that war may find its way here.
All right, that was Angela Bassett as Shatter and Justin Theroux as Dropkick, the Decepticon peacekeepers. Now, this is Bumblebee. Matt, this is a prequel to Michael Bay's Transformers series. And I looked this up, too, because I wanted to see if there's like a Kelvin timeline type thing where we're rebooting. But from what I understand, it is not. This is just kind of a prequel, though I guess we're setting up for some potential sequels from here. And I have one question for you, Matt. Well, that wasn't so hard, was it?
No, it really wasn't. It was
to make a good Transformers movie. It wasn't so hard.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be good. It just has to be entertaining. It was, nothing groundbreaking, but I was thoroughly entertained throughout the entire thing. Yeah,
and I think here's the key, right? Well, what did we have to do? We had to remember that this is a children's property.
Right.
All right. And then the kicker, I think what pushes it over the top for me the genius decision by Travis Knight and whomever at Allspark Pictures, or there maybe at Paramount too, is not only is the film set, Matt, in 1987, it was produced like it's 1987.
Okay, what does that mean?
It wraps itself up in the nostalgia, but it never feels forced for me, except maybe for a couple of musical cues, particularly some of the 80s songs. And don't get me wrong, you're not going to find a bigger fan of 80s music than me. I still think it was the high point of music, was those 80s.
Okay.
Anyway. My point I'm making is that the thing is somehow able to maintain and has this kind of innocence, kind of fun feel to it. It was able to really just capture that 80s feeling of the movies. Because like sometimes the plot points don't make a lot of sense. Some of the things don't really, if you think about it too long, will just confuse you or blow your mind, whatever. But the whole thing is, but it's so effortless, right? Yeah. And so breezy and so much. It's just nothing to it. It just flows and it's fun. Haley Steinfeld is great in this. She's able to pull off some, I think, really, truly emotional moments when she's, I'm assuming, interacting with a guy in a gray suit with checkerboards all on it while he's walking on stilts. But and the biggest success too, not only being able to really just harness that 80s feel, is also the action scenes. It was, I was ecstatic. I could follow the action scenes and see what was happening.
I know, right? I was in that first battle that's out in the sun, out in the open. I was like, I can tell everything that's happening right now. I was so happy that I got to sit there and watch giant robots punching each other in the face, but I could tell who was punching whom in the face.
Exactly. The Transformers finally look like they always should have. They're not needlessly complicated. You know, that was, everything was so, Bay's films are so complex and detail oriented, and it's just, you can't follow anything that's happening. Right. And everything here is much more streamlined and smooth. And I got to tell you, I'm all in on a sequel to this thing, and I'd like even to see a Cybertron film. I think after seeing the opening of this movie, I think you could do it. I really do. Yeah. And I was really impressed with this thing. I was shocked by how good it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think when we first started talking about this and I started seeing the previews for it, I think I said to Chris, I feel like Haley Steinfeld is too good to be in a Transformers film. And you know what? She is fantastic in it. And this is so perfectly 80s. Like, as I'm sitting here watching this thing, you know, and not for nothing, executive produced by Steven Spielberg. This thing has a huge ET vibe in it. It's got like all of that kind of, you know, batteries not included, ET, kind of all of those kinds of things kind of wrapped up into one. And you know what? I thought the choices in it were good. It was fun to watch, and man, I was so excited when those Gen 1 Transformers came out in the Cybertron. I was so excited to see Soundwave proper. Like, it was fantastic with the voice and the cassette shooting out of his chest for no reason. Like, I don't even know. Like, do they have cassettes on Cybertron? Apparently, because stuff shoots out of his chest, and it's awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm just so excited that they finally got it right. So, and one thing I want to note too, Matt, I think when Peter Cullen passes away, I know hopefully we got decades to go, but I think the guy's in his early 70s at this point, maybe early 60s. They better have recorded a bunch of voice work for him or able to replicate it or something, because I can't imagine a different voice for Optimus Prime. I can't.
There's a few. I mean, and there's like, he is up there with like James Earl Jones for like Darth Vader. Like, if they were going to make a Darth Vader film, I don't understand how they could do it. Yeah, I don't see how they could ever do it, because, you know, he already doesn't sound like Darth Vader anymore. But I think, those three guys, those are tied into those roles.
That's what I got, man. It's a lot of fun. It's not that smart, but it doesn't need to be, and it replicates that 80s feel and vibe, like something I haven't seen in a long time. So if you love that old stuff, you like your Transformers, then Travis Knight, the director, has finally delivered the movie you've been waiting to see for, what's it been, 12 years?
Yeah. It's too bad we couldn't get ex-host Dave Cunningham to give us an opinion on what he thought of Bumblebee. If you're listening to this, Dave, which I know you're not, Send us an email because I want to know what you got
in between playing Destiny and Red Dead Redemption and whatever else you're doing. He does like his robots fighting each other. That's his big thing.
That is. Yeah.
All right, give me a grade, Matt. Where's Bumblebee come for you?
I'm gonna say B+. I think that's fair. Although I'd like to point out the flaws in the Rotten Tomato scoring system, because I think this thing is like 93 or 94% fresh, which I think is like one of the highest rated movies of the year as far as Rotten Tomatoes is concerned. I don't know if it's that good, but it's good.
Yeah, no, actually, exactly. That's what I have as well. I have B+ as well. So good. I'm glad you enjoyed it as well. Man,
I did.
Being able to follow the action, what a concept.
It just makes all the difference. And, to have likable characters, I mean, that's even better. Woo! It's crazy.
Shoot us an email, feedback@thefirstrun.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts about Bumblebee. All right, Matt, let's move it along then. It's going to be Christian Bale time. It's now, we're gonna duke it out, we're going to hash it out, and we're going to tell you what the 5 best performances by Christian Bale are. It's not going to be this one, unfortunately, but maybe it's on Matt's list. We'll find out.
A creature has been awakened that has lain dormant for millions of years. A species older than the dinosaurs and more terrifying than anything we could have imagined.
How did they go from 1 to a million in less than a year?
Highly evolved.
They have great vision in the day. They have even better vision at night.
Extremely intelligent.
He's playing hide and seek. More like cat and mouse.
Unbelievably powerful.
2 glands in the mouth secrete separate chemicals.
Combine exhalation, natural napalm.
Good luck.
That, of course, is Christian Bale as Quinn Abercrombie in Reign of Fire.
Wow, why did you have to spoil my number 1, man? Come on.
Did I? Oh, no. Him and Matthew McConaughey, they team up to fight some dragons. I'm going to tell you, it's not a bad movie.
It's not. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun B movie. It really is. As far as B movie goes, it's very competent.
You can do a twofer, a double feature with that and Dragonheart. Is that the one with Sean Connery voices the dragon?
That one I would not say.
No?
It's a good B movie. No.
I like Dragonheart when it came out.
Yeah? When was the last time you saw it?
When it came out.
Okay, well, there you go.
All right. So I say we can go down our list like we normally would.
Okay.
All right. So I'm assuming you have a 5 through 1.
Yeah, I do. Yes.
See where we end up. Maybe it'll end up right where it's supposed to.
Right.
So we'll
that would be very anticlimactic. So let's hope that's not the case. Yes.
So why don't you start off? What's your 5th favorite Bale performance?
So I'm gonna go ahead and throw his performance as Dick Cheney as Vice on here. I think it's a little fresh for me, where I don't know if I can kind of say it's up against his best, but it is a really good, fantastic performance. Maybe it needs to marinate a little bit more, and maybe if we did this a year from now, it'd be higher up the list. But right now, it's at my number 5.
Interesting.
Yeah.
My number 5 is Irving Rosenfeld from American Hustle.
Okay.
I really was impressed with that film. For me, that was oh crap. Who directed that thing, Matt? He also did Silver Screen or Silver something pickups or
David O. Russell.
David O. Russell, thank you. The guy George Clooney punched out.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, his performance as Irving Rosenfeld, I thought was great. I love the con movies, right? I love that kind of stuff, and it's just a lot of fun. And then with watching him in that role, so that's why it's my number 5.
It's my number 4. Irving Rosenfeld as American Hustle. I thought he was really good. He was a real highlight of that film. Although he probably could have. It's definitely more of an ensemble cast, so he kind of is just part of the moving parts, but he's still fantastic in it.
No, that's a good one. I'm actually adjusting my list as we go. That is so funny.
That's not fair.
Changing my mind.
Just so we can argue at the end?
I'm reading it. No. I'm just no. So my number 4 is Dick Cheney as well. So initially I had it all the way at 2, but then about 2 hours ago I kind of rethought it, and I pushed him back up to 4. It's the other 3 now that I keep switching around.
Okay.
But yeah, so him as Dick Cheney, like you said, maybe after some time it'll move further up. Maybe it'll drop out. I don't know.
Maybe.
But I still was blown away by his performance in that film, and he is Dick Cheney, and it is hilarious and terrifying all at the same time. So
okay. All right, so my number 3. Now, Christian Bale is known for being a bit of a method actor and really putting his body through some serious stuff. So my number 3 is when he plays what's this guy's name? Trevor Resnick in The Machinist. Bale lost, God, I don't like. It looks like at least 50 pounds. I mean, he is rail thin and sickly, and he just commits to this role of this guy who's just slowly dying from like lack of sleep and just paranoia and just kind of the stuff, PTSD stuff that he's been through. And it's a fascinating thing to watch, just to watch what he put himself through to fulfill that role.
Yeah, the film itself is just okay. And I feel, I don't know. Is that more of an issue where is it the physical transformation more than it is the performance? I don't know.
But you completely buy it. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah. So
no, you're right about that. All right. My number 3 then. We're on 3, right?
Yes, we are.
3. God, I'm so confused. So my number 3 is it's Bruce Wayne. It's Batman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people's Batman is Michael Keaton. He would be, I mean, that's who the Batman was when I was a kid. But I just think he nails that part. Though, unfortunately, maybe in the final film, the lisp gets a lot more pronounced when he does his Batman voice. But still, overall, I thought he was a fantastic Batman who also, played Batman's secret identity, Bruce Wayne. But yeah, so it's I could not make the list and have him not be on here.
Yeah.
So
see, here's the thing. I went back and forth. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Bruce Wayne / Batman is not on my list. And as much as I think that he will always be identified with that role, it's right up there. His choices as Batman when he's in the cowl, that voice is just ridiculous. I mean, it really just is. It's bad. So
it does get progressively worse as the films go on.
Yeah, I just couldn't get past it. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love those films. They're great films, but I just couldn't put it on the list.
Fair enough.
Okay.
What's your 2?
All right, so my number 2 is probably his most iconic role. It's the one that put him on the map. It's obviously that's going to be Patrick Bateman in American Psycho. He really kind of just makes that film. He takes, I don't know if you've ever read the source material, and that is a exercise in just what's the word I'm looking here? It's a tough read, and it's not just because of the subject matter, just because it's kind of dull. Didn't
he spend like pages just describing things?
Yeah, just like what's on the menu or however how like his entire like self-care routine, just to ad nauseum detail. Whereas this, when it gets changed to a satire and he kind of Bale really kind of embodies the role and makes the role who he is. I mean, it's a fantastic transformation. I mean, it's crazy how well he slips into that kind of insane yuppie role.
No, that's a good one. It's yeah. My number 2 is then Dickie Eklund from The Fighter, where he won an Academy Award.
Sure.
And another one too, where he lost some weight. He plays a drug addicted guy who never could. He could have maybe never was though, and hangs on to the coattails of his brother. And it's just a sad story. And he basically steals that film. So if you haven't seen him in The Fighter, it is quite good. I mean, obviously he won an Academy Award. So there you go.
All right, well then I'm kind of interested to see what your number 1 is, because my number 1 is Dickie Eklund from The Fighter. I put this above Bateman just because he just brings a lot of humanity to that role, and he is really just the standout in that film. He really just makes that film, and I think he's just absolutely fantastic. That film is nowhere near as successful as it is without him. So
that's interesting. Yeah, my number 1 was Patrick Bateman. I just felt that was kind of the thing outside of Empire of the Sun, of course, which is what he started as a little kid. But yeah, I don't know. When I was going through it, and just when I think of iconic roles outside of Batman, I think the first thing I think of for Christian Bale is Patrick Bateman in American Psycho.
Yeah.
Now that's some dark satire that works.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing is top shelf. entertainment and disturbing and thrilling and hilarious all at the same time. So this is interesting. So Matt, let me tell you what my original top 5 was.
Okay, let's hear it.
American Hustle, 5. Batman, 4. American Psycho, 3. Vice, 2. And then Dickie Eklund, The Fighter was 1.
Yeah. So
that was my original, but I kept going back and forth all day on it.
Have you? You know what? I'm not even going to argue with you on this one. I think you're right. I think Patrick Bateman is his defining role, and it probably is his best role. Just because he can swing from, cold robot sociopath to smarmy Wall Street broker to complete psychopath chasing down women in his apartment. Yeah, I think it shows quite a range as far as he can do. I think you're probably right. That probably is the ultimate role for Christian Bale so far.
All right. Well, that was easy then.
It was. Being accommodating. Well, we were pretty close on the list. I mean, we really were.
No, we were. And
other than arguing about Batman, I mean, and we didn't really argue that much about it, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I could be pushed to choose Dickie Eklund too. If you needle me hard, not even hard enough, just give me a little nudge. I could make it my number 1 as well. So clearly, the list first time out the gate, it needs some work. Maybe we got to find somebody who has some more diverse of performance.
Yeah, I think we gotta find somebody who we're really passionate about. Like somebody that we're really passionate about. But I mean, and there's nothing to say that it has to be an acting thing. We could do a direction one as well, and we could probably really get into it on some of those.
That's interesting. I'll have to think about that. I like that at all. I like it a lot. Any honorable mentions for you? What didn't make the cut?
What didn't make the cut? I was looking at his roles. I mean, I guess Batman didn't make the cut. He was pretty good in The Big Short. But I mean, honestly, looking at his list of credits, like he has some real bright spots, but he's got some real middling to kind of not
harsh
great
times.
Yeah, just
Equilibrium.
Yeah, 3:10 to Yuma, which is okay. I thought he was okay in The Prestige too.
Yeah, I had that as an honorable mention.
Yeah. And of course, obviously just missed the cut is his John Connor in Terminator Salvation.
Oh, God.
But it did give us Good For You. It did give us Good For You. So that is something.
I also had Arthur Stewart for Velvet Goldmine, John Rolfe in The New World. What else did you not mention? Oh, Dieter Dengler in Rescue Dawn, Werner Herzog. Film. And then, of course, I think I brought this up last week, him as Walter Wade Jr. in Shaft. Again, you have not lived until you've seen him and Jeffrey Wright as couples.
You're really selling it. You're really selling it. I'm going to have to go see it.
It's really the only reason to watch that film is those two guys.
Okay.
They are great in a subpar movie.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go check it out. I'll let everybody know if Chris is right. If this is just more of his hyperbole that you just don't need to listen to.
There's a scene from Shaft that I was going to use as the opener, where basically it's just Christian Bale being really racist, and I say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't. So
probably smart. It's probably a smart idea.
Yeah, the scene itself is crazy, but it's I don't want to ruin it for you.
Okay,
but just watching him say those things is kind of interesting to see. What about Into the Furnace?
I don't think I've ever seen it.
You haven't? Okay.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right. And Velvet Goldmine, if you're not aware, is the movie, it's a movie about the glam rockers.
Yeah.
Basically, they're stand-ins for Bowie and Iggy Pop and who else? A couple other people. I know I'm blanking right now, unfortunately. Oh, God. With the Prettiest Star, the song did the guitar on. Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, and
I didn't realize he played Jesus in a TV movie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, he did. That's right.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that.
So, there you go. What are your favorite Christian Bale performances? What is his best? Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. We would adore to hear your thoughts about that sweetness. Next week. I don't know.
Roma?
We're going to do Roma. For sure, we're doing Roma.
Yeah. Probably if Beale Street Could Talk, if I can find it. Yeah, likely. if it comes to the rural area that I live in.
That's right. Matt's going to have to move just to keep the show going.
That's right. That's why I'm moving to New York City.
That's right. So that's it. That's going to be a big fun show next week. And if Beale Street Could Talk fits in, then it's finally here. We're going to do our top 10 films of 2018, just in time for the middle of January.
Yeah, I know. Well, and here's the thing. I just want to point out, I have not been that impressed with 2018 so far. Because last year, I was super impressed. I really loved The Shape of Water. And the year before, I really loved La La Land. I haven't had that Oscar bait movie that just really blew me away and just got me, made me fall in love like this with this year.
I haven't had a La La Land type thing this year or Moonlight. I don't think I have, but I've seen a lot of great stuff this year.
Yeah.
It has been more, I think, solid throughout the year for the most part. I had stuff that I really liked basically all year long.
Yeah.
So, and I've seen a few things you haven't seen. In fact, I'm also at this point, I don't know if it's going to be tonight, but maybe the next couple of days, I'm going to watch The Rider, which is supposed to be one of the best films of the year, a little small independent film, which I'm dying to see. Leave No Trace, which is on Amazon. I've seen that, Matt. I highly recommend that as well.
Okay.
There's a bunch of stuff out there you can now start catching up with. So, yeah, we got a lot to see, a lot to talk about. I'm very excited about it. In the meantime, in the interim, check us out on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. Just type in The First Run, scroll. Eventually you will find us. Go over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review. 4 stars and above. I will read it on the air no matter what it is. And that's how other people will, it'll help other people find the show, and which would be awesome. And as always, you can watch the live recordings, warts and all, every time I screw up on YouTube, which is a delight for all. So we're going to take an extended break, and the stinger this week is going to feature Bob Einstein, who's a comedian who passed away last week, brother of Albert Brooks, a very, very funny man. You may know him more popular as Super Dave. He was also on Curb Your Enthusiasm as well, which is what this clip is pulled from in the stinger. So that's going to be it, folks. We're going to take an extended break, and we will see you all soon.
Let me explain something to you.
Sure.
I lost my dad a year ago. My mother just died. I'm an orphan, okay?
You're what?
I'm an orphan.
Orphan?
Yeah, an orphan.
You look too old to be an orphan.
No, if you don't have parents, you're an orphan.
Oh, you could be 70 and be an orphan?
You could be 100 and be an orphan.
Oh, you can't be 100 and be an orphan.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Little orphan Funkhauser.